Hey, we're excited to let you know that registration for How Today's Successful Leaders Avoid Burnout and Create Work-Life Balance Without Changing Jobs free webinar is open. If you are like most leaders we talk with, you are sinking in a sea of constant change, limited resources, and competing priorities. You feel exhausted mentally, physically, and emotionally. No matter what you do, it's not enough, and there is never enough time to do all the things on your to-do list. We realize taking time out to participate in a webinar may be the last thing you feel you can add to your overflowing plate. Yet you probably also realize that not taking time to add a new tool to your toolbox, learn a new skill, and gain new insights will only guarantee you'll keep experiencing what you're experiencing right now. You also may be thinking, hey, work-life balance isn't possible. Well, we don't blame you for thinking that. It's what most people think and what we've been told for years, and quite frankly, what we've tried to do and failed multiple times. But we're here to show you it is possible and to give you the secret ingredient and proven process to make it happen. Go over to missinglogic.com/new-events to enroll in the webinar today and join other leaders like you who are determined to overcome or avoid burnout and live a more balanced life. This is Healthcare's Missing Logic podcast, episode number 218. In this episode, we share some really exciting changes happening and some adjustments to the podcast that you're not going to want to miss. So stay tuned.
Welcome back to Healthcare's Missing Logic podcast. This is the only podcast that shows you how to leverage polarity intelligence, an essential competency for healthcare leaders, and the missing logic in healthcare, so you can create healthy, healing organizations and become a thriving, resilient, and unstoppable healthcare leader.
We are your hosts, Tracy Christofferson and Michelle Trosett. We've been best friends and colleagues for over 30 years. And during that time, we coached healthcare leaders across North America around how to create healthy, healing organizations.
Today, we coach healthcare leaders and leadership teams to live thriving, resilient, and balanced lives, combat burnout, and create the best places to give and receive care.
This podcast is for the unsung hero of healthcare, the healthcare leader. We want you to know we see you and we'll be here for you each week. In this podcast, we're going to challenge healthcare's industry norms, flip limiting beliefs, and share proven strategies so you can be your best self at work and at home, live and lead intentionally, and experience well-being and joy.
We are glad you are here and look forward to sharing the journey with you. If you aren't totally convinced this podcast is for you, just listen to a few episodes and convince yourself.
Well, welcome back to another wonderful episode of Healthcare's Missing Logic podcast. I'm Tracy.
And I'm Michelle. Welcome back to the studio. It's so great to be with you again today.
Yeah. And you might notice our outfits if you're on our YouTube channel. This is where we started.
Yes.
In these very outfits. And we're getting ready to change some things up. So we thought we'd go back to the beginning.
That's right.
Yeah. It's really, we're really excited to be here with you today, especially today, because we're going to be revealing some things that are up and coming for us.
Yeah.
And we're excited.
We are changing things up. We're at that point in our journey where there's a lot of new things happening. We're going to be sharing that with you. And one of the things changing is our podcast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Some big changes coming.
Yes.
So, we started the podcast, 4 years ago?
About 4 years ago.
4 years ago.
I know its birthday's in August.
Yep.
August 19th to be exact.
Yeah. But, when you get older, you lose track of how many years that is. So anyway, it was a long time ago, it feels like. A lot of fun has been had since then.
That's right.
And we really started it because we had this epiphany, right? And this learning that leaders across the country were facing the same challenges over and over and over. And one of the tools they were missing in their toolkit was the understanding of polarities and polarity thinking and what that would do to help them manage some of these ongoing challenges. And so we thought a podcast is the absolute best platform to reach many, many healthcare leaders. And that's where we were focused when we first got started, is to bring this missing logic to healthcare, right, and to leaders. And so that's kind of where we started. We wanted to increase awareness and give people an opportunity to learn in an easy format. And we were all audio at that time.
We were, and boy, did we learn a lot. When I think back to that, and actually we got Travis here in the podcast studios. It was the three of us sitting there going, how do we do this? And we learned as we went, and now it's been over 3 years, and we have, a great following. We just looked up our ranking again today, and we're in the top 60 of all healthcare leader podcasts. So, it's been quite a journey so far.
Yeah. And we started with healthcare because you start with what you know. And we had 20 plus years experience in working with leaders in healthcare and had that understanding because we had worked with so many different organizations. We could see the patterns, And so we started, but we always knew that what we were bringing was applicable to all leaders in all industries and all walks, and really to everybody at large, right? It's
universal.
Happens at the personal level, organizational, communities, national. It's everywhere. Polarities are everywhere. You've heard us say that many, many times. And I think a big part of this too was, we were in the COVID. Like when COVID hit, it was like, wow, how can we serve? And we saw what was happening in healthcare. Of course, they were hit extremely hard.
Right.
And we saw there was a lot of support for the clinicians, but we couldn't recognize or see where there was support for leaders. So that was another driving component of the work that we've been doing in this podcast since COVID and post-COVID. But we're all facing challenges, ongoing challenges of the post-COVID.
Yep, all industries, really.
Yep,
Again, the pandemic has touched absolutely everybody. And, we get asked quite frequently when we're speaking or we're talking to other leaders, do you work outside of healthcare? So it's a common question we get. And that's why our next step is working with all leaders.
Yeah. So, it's time.
It is.
It's time to expand our reach, expand the guests that we have on our podcast, expand the topics that we're talking about, and yet, here's the polarities: change and stability. So we want to continue to serve the healthcare leaders. They're near and dear to our hearts. But we know what you're facing as a healthcare leader is not unique to you. Those same polarities show up in every other work environment and for all other leaders as well. But it's a great opportunity for us to kind of do a refresh, and that's what we're going to be doing.
Yeah.
And not just in who we're talking with, but how we look. So we're going to be doing some changes to the studio too.
We are. And we have another big change coming. We have spent also during those COVID years when we couldn't travel or go any place, in addition to doing the podcast and working with our clients virtually, Tracy and I rolled up our sleeves and we wrote a book.
Yes, we did.
We wrote a book. It's called Polarity Intelligence, The Missing Logic in Leadership. And we intentionally wrote the book for all leaders because we knew, why write this just for healthcare? Again, this is a really big need right now, so we're writing it for all leaders. And that will be coming out in January of 2024. So another impetus for our changes.
Yeah. So we have a lot going on here, folks, right? And one of the things that we wanted to do is we need to spend time with our team really preparing if we want these changes and this book launch to be successful. And so, we are going to be we're going to be running some encores, and because rather than have dead air where there's just no episodes for a number of weeks, we decided to really dive in, pull out our best episodes, ones that are our favorites, some that are really foundational when it comes to being a polarity intelligent leader. Yes. That some great guests, and really bring those forth with some new introductions for you and some other elements that, keep you listening.
Yeah. And to Tracy's point, when we introduce them, we're just going to give a brief explanation of why we picked that particular episode to share again and why it's still relevant, or maybe in some cases even more relevant today than the day it originally aired. So
Yeah. So we'll be doing some reintroductions to them.
Yes.
Also, we want to keep things a little bit fun. And as we are doing the refresh on our studio and on our podcast, we're going to be giving some sneak peeks. So you'll be able to find that maybe in the podcast or on our YouTube channel. So, we want to... we're just going to create some excitement and some energy. We're going to give you a little peek of what's coming. So check it out.
Yeah, if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do that. Then you'll be all lined up for the encores and for our sneak peeks.
Yeah. And
our little fun along the way.
Our big reveal.
Yes, our big reveal. And we also want to hear from you right now. This is an opportune time knowing that we are changing things up, and we have a lot of loyal listeners, and we can't thank you enough for tuning in every week, listening to us, sharing our podcast with others. And if there's anything you wish Tracy and I would do, or if you've ever had some ideas that you want to pass along, now's the time.
Yeah, or let us know also what you really love about the podcast so we don't cut that out. We want to keep you coming back. We need to know what makes you happy. Yeah. And we will continue to laugh. So for those of you that enjoy our laughter the most, you can count on that being a staple in every episode.
That will never go away. Can you imagine doing an episode not laughing?
Oh, no. I don't think it's in our DNA.
Yeah. So if you do have anything you would like to pass along to us, we're all ears, and you can send us an email at assistance@missinglogic.com, and that is ASSISTANTS, assistance@missinglogic.com.
Yeah, we'll put that in the show notes. So if you're so inclined to send us, and we hope you will. We really do. We really love to hear from you, and I've appreciated everything that you've shared with us as listeners thus far. It's really helped to shape how we're doing the podcast, and it'll help shape how we go forward. So I think that's it. This is a shorty today.
Yeah, shorty. So tune in next week.
Yeah. Until we meet again, right?
Yeah.
Stay safe, stay healthy, and we're just really happy to serve you and to be a part of your life. So keep coming back.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Healthcare's Missing Logic podcast, now a top-rated podcast for healthcare leaders. Please share this podcast with other healthcare leaders and anyone else you think would benefit. We are certain that if you found value in it, they will too. If you haven't already done so, please hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any episodes. And also, it would mean the world to us if you took a quick moment to leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, or your favorite podcast player. It helps to get the word out about our podcast and incredible guests. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you want to watch our podcasts. You can also follow us on our Missing Logic social media channels, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Until next time.